The family, they just have a lot of family drama. I don't know. It's like a cursed family or something. I hate to say that, but like it's just a lot of stuff happens in that family.
Blake Lively's polished public image has finally shattered, exposing a ruthless streak so severe that even her own relatives have cut ties with her. The fiery fallout that followed has become Hollywood's newest scandal, proving she'll do whatever it takes to repair her tarnished reputation. Get ready for the shocking truth about the star who believed she could outmaneuver everyone, including her own family. For years, Blake Lively carefully built the persona of a Hollywood golden girl, a celebrated actress with impeccable fashion, a charming talk show presence, and a seemingly picture-perfect marriage to Ryan Reynolds. She appeared to have it all: major endorsement deals, magazine covers, high-profile friendships, and a meticulously curated public image that radiated warmth and relatability. But in the ruthless world of Hollywood, no reputation is ever truly secure. Now, that illusion has crumbled spectacularly, with a controversy that involves not just Blake and another actor-director, Justin Baldoni, but also his tight-knit family, led by his father, Sam. What started as a quiet legal standoff has spiraled into a full-fledged public spectacle, revealing a fractured industry and a star who may have played her hand too aggressively. Initially, few people outside the industry realized the depth of the animosity brewing between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Insiders whispered that their once promising professional relationship had soured on the set of a joint project. Reports surfaced of creative clashes, Blake allegedly pushing for script changes, while Justin fought to preserve his directorial vision. The behind-the-scenes tensions soon spilled into the press as quiet rumors painted Lively as controlling and overbearing, while Baldoni was portrayed as easygoing but quietly resentful of her interference. But the real shock came when legal documents were made public, revealing that the dispute was about far more than just creative differences. Blake accused Justin of inappropriate behavior, while his team countered with claims that she was using unethical tactics to edge him out of his own project. The media, always hungry for star-studded drama, latched onto the controversy, fueling speculation and tabloid headlines. Reports suggested that Lively had been pushing for new producers, new directors, and even a rewritten storyline, Moves, that would effectively sideline Baldoni from the very project he had nurtured from the beginning. At first, most fans dismissed it as typical Hollywood drama, unaware that a storm was quietly brewing behind the scenes. Then came the moment that changed everything. Justin's father, Sam Baldoni, previously unknown to the public, stepped into the fray. While most Hollywood parents prefer to stay in the background, Sam had clearly reached his limit, unwilling to let the narrative be dictated by Lively's camp. Instead of holding a press conference or issuing a carefully worded statement, he took a different approach, leveraging social media, particularly short-form video platforms, to launch what many saw as a precision strike against Lively's credibility. The video Sam posted was simple but devastating. It featured a bulletin board covered with glowing descriptions of Justin's character: compassionate, focused, respectful, and generous. On the surface, it appeared to be a father's heartfelt show of support. But the real impact came from the caption: "In a world full of Blakes and Ryans, be a Justin." Though it never mentioned Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds by name, the meaning was unmistakable. It was a bold, calculated move, subtle enough to avoid outright accusations, but pointed enough to spark a firestorm online. Within hours, the post went viral, generating thousands of retweets, stitches, and heated debates across TikTok and Twitter. For Blake, this was an unforeseen disaster. She and Ryan Reynolds had cultivated the image of Hollywood's ultimate power couple, beloved for their playful social media banter, their joint appearances at charity galas, and their reputation as a rare, stable duo in an industry riddled with scandals. For Sam Baldoni to publicly challenge that carefully maintained facade, even indirectly, shattered the illusion they had worked so hard to uphold. Viewers couldn't get enough, flooding comment sections with opinions, many now questioning whether Blake's claims of being wronged were just a smokescreen for something else. What had begun as a dispute between two colleagues had ballooned into a battle with ripple effects across Hollywood. Suddenly, major studios, streaming platforms, and some of the industry's most influential figures found themselves caught in the crossfire. Hollywood is a world where reputations mean everything. Directors, actors, producers, and financiers all operate within overlapping social circles. When one person falls from grace, the impact can be far-reaching, And as this scandal continues to unfold, one thing is clear. Blake Lively's once flawless Ayarchiwa
of being in the public eye. She's just used to being Hollywood's golden girl, and she had such thin skin that after having a couple negative things happen to her for a month, she had to blame him. She decided to blame him, and boy, did she open up a hornet's nest and learn, be careful what you wish for, because now you've got the fight you asked for and you're not winning it.
You know, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are seeking gag orders against Baldoni from releasing information, whereas his team is saying, nope, let's put out everything. Every single text message.
Once Sam Baldoni's post went viral, it felt like the entire industry was either choosing a side or waiting to see who would emerge victorious. For a brief period, Blake Lively attempted to maintain her signature sweet persona, continuing to post. Carefully curated Instagram shots of family moments, designer outfits, and glimpses of her latest entrepreneurial ventures. However, audiences were no longer accepting it at face value. Comment sections quickly filled with references to Sam's post, with users calling her out for perceived hypocrisy and demanding that she address the swirling allegations in the press. Lively's team scrambled to manage the fallout, but soon realized that a single father's social media jab had spiraled beyond their control. Just as Blake was trying to regain her footing, The Hollywood Reporter, a leading entertainment publication, delivered a metaphorical bombshell on her image. The magazine's February 21st cover featured a cartoon caricature of Lively launching a phone via slingshot at Justin Baldoni, a direct jab at her legal team's aggressive focus on subpoenaing his text messages. That was the moment Hollywood. Insiders fully grasped that the tide was turning. Typically, A-list celebrities enjoy a protective shield from top-tier outlets. If The Hollywood Reporter was willing to mock Lively so brazenly, it signaled that influential power brokers were either growing tired of her narrative or no longer feared the consequences of ridiculing her. Suddenly, Blake Lively was in full damage control mode. She fired back at The Hollywood Reporter, calling the depiction outrageously insulting and accusing the magazine of trivializing serious claims. Normally, such counterattacks work in Hollywood, where elite celebrities have well-oiled PR machines to shape the storyline. But this time, the public's reaction was indifferent. It was as if the court of public opinion had already decided that her credibility was too fragile to salvage. At the heart of the skepticism was a growing mismatch between her allegations against Justin and the increasing evidence contradicting them. With each new revelation, be it leaked screenshots, behind-the-scenes accounts, or text messages, Blake's story developed more and more inconsistencies. The Hollywood Reporter's bold move simply reinforced the growing consensus that she was no longer the beloved America's sweetheart she once seemed to be. Around this time, social media detectives, an unstoppable force in the digital age, began digging into Lively's past interviews and behind-the-scenes interactions. One particular revelation sent shockwaves through Twitter. Lively had reportedly accused Justin Baldoni of invading her privacy while she was breastfeeding. The claim was serious, suggesting a clear violation of personal boundaries. However, as more details surfaced, the controversy only deepened, further unraveling Lively's carefully constructed public image and leaving Hollywood insiders wondering just how much of it would remain intact.
Completely tone deaf, and as a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate. In fact, people were posting old interviews of her that weren't even really relevant at all to the movie, but they're just highlighting this is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
But soon enough, Justin's camp presented damning text messages in which Lively had specifically invited him in to rehearse lines, casually mentioning that she was breastfeeding, but insisting it was no issue. When these texts leaked, many who had initially supported her felt betrayed. The assumption that something inappropriate might have happened quickly shifted to suspicion that she had fabricated the entire claim. Public sentiment is incredibly fickle, especially in an environment fueled by social media callouts. Trust can dissolve overnight, and for Blake Lively, the damage was swift. She had painted Baldoni as a predator, convincing everyone that he was a terrible person. But now, people demanded an explanation. Why had she framed him as someone who walked in unannounced when, by all indications, he had been explicitly invited? This revelation tore a gigantic hole in the foundation of Lively's lawsuit. If such a personal and disturbing claim could be so thoroughly dismantled, what else in her complaint might be exaggerated or even fabricated? Each day seemed to bring fresh speculation, with many now questioning whether Lively had orchestrated the entire fiasco as a power play to control the direction and final cut of the film in question. In the end, that's exactly what happened. She wielded all creative control over the project, while Baldoni was left sidelined, unable to even view the final cut of the movie. Perhaps the most shocking claim, one that outraged both fans and Hollywood. Insiders, was that Justin Baldoni was not permitted to attend his own movie premiere, a film he had been central to developing, yet he was allegedly barred from the event. If true, it revealed a disturbing power dynamic. Lively, backed by Ryan Reynolds, apparently had enough industry influence to exclude the very producer and lead actor from his own project. The story quickly spread through industry circles, sparking disbelief and anger. Studios, actors, and producers saw it as a troubling example of how a star's influence could be used to override professional norms and overshadow rightful credit. Further reports suggested that entire sections of the creative team had been pressured or influenced by Lively to exclude Baldoni and his family. This was the final straw for Sam Baldoni. He recognized that if they allowed the premiere to proceed entirely under Lively's control, Justin's film career could be severely impacted, possibly even derailed. In that context, Sam's public condemnation of Lively and Ryan Reynolds made even more sense. He wasn't just speaking out for the sake of drama. He was defending his son from what he saw as an orchestrated attack on his livelihood. In Hollywood, relationships are almost as important as talent. Agents, managers, studio executives, and casting directors tend to rally around marketable stars, but they also understand that aligning with someone caught in a spiral of controversy can be a terrible business decision. With each new revelation, the industry's perception of Blake Lively continued to shift, leaving her once untouchable reputation hanging in the balance.
So sorry, I know this is your project. I'm sorry we can't show you anything. I mean, for him as well, he instantly had he had an award for advocating for women, something in the realm of feminism.
Further, the moment the Hollywood Reporter publicly mocked Lively's lawsuit, it sent a clear signal to the industry. Questioning or criticizing Blake Lively was no longer career suicide. Suddenly, hushed conversations started happening at studio lunches and dinners. Casting directors grew hesitant about bringing her onto new projects, citing reputation management concerns. Producers who had previously frowned upon her rumored behind-the-scenes meddling now had a legitimate excuse to pass her over. Even SAG-AFTRA, which had initially seemed sympathetic, especially when a female star made accusations, appeared to pull back, waiting to see if Lively's story would hold up. To Lively's most devoted fans, these industry desertions felt like betrayals. But from a Hollywood business perspective, they were entirely predictable. The film industry can be a fair-weather friend, quick to distance itself from anyone embroiled in an irreparable scandal. Lively's biggest miscalculation seemed to be her belief that her star power alone would guarantee unwavering support, no matter how shaky her claims were. One of the more bizarre angles of the controversy came from a leaked comment in which Blake reportedly compared herself to Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, calling Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift her dragons. This revelation sparked a flurry of online reactions, ranging from amusement to outright disbelief. The idea that Lively saw herself as a regal, unstoppable queen who could command the biggest pop star on the planet and a beloved Hollywood actor as her personal defenders struck many as arrogant. Meanwhile, Baldoni countersued Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, for defamation and extortion. On Wednesday, Lively filed an amended legal complaint, stating that she was not alone in raising allegations of on-set misconduct. However, Taylor Swift, widely regarded as a PR mastermind, never publicly came to Lively's defense. If Lively had hoped that name-dropping Swift would rally her enormous fanbase to her cause, that gamble failed. Swift, true to form, remained notably absent from the public debate, as she usually does unless an issue directly impacts her brand or personal experiences. Ryan Reynolds also refrained from making any grand statements defending his wife or attacking Justin Baldoni. His silence spoke volumes. The people Lively had counted on to stand by her were nowhere to be found in the thick of the fight. Instead, she used the opportunity to promote her alcohol brand, an odd choice given the widespread awareness of alcoholism's connection to domestic violence. To many, it felt tone-deaf and opportunistic, further damaging her credibility. While the professional ramifications were obvious, lost roles, negative press coverage, and possible blacklisting, the personal toll on Lively also became evident. Paparazzi photos captured her looking tense and anxious, a stark contrast to her usual breezy red carpet confidence. She was reportedly working overtime with her PR handlers, attempting to spin new angles on the story or pivot the conversation, entirely to other charitable or personal endeavors. Yet, the more she tried to shift the focus, the more the internet pulled her back into the controversies she had ignited. Inside sources, allegedly from her own camp, described her as stressed out and extremely frustrated. In response, she was met with an overwhelming wave of online criticism. People began resurfacing old interviews of hers, many not even directly related to the film, highlighting what they perceived as evidence of a mean girl persona. No matter what she did, the narrative kept slipping further from her control. Lively seemingly did not anticipate that the public would be so quick to embrace the Baldoni perspective, especially given her far greater name recognition and history of favorable media coverage. The betrayal stung, made worse by the relentless tide of social media, where TikTok users meticulously dissected her every public statement. Throughout the controversy, Justin Baldoni adopted a notably restrained approach, while his father, Sam, took direct shots at Lively and her supporters on social media. Justin largely remained silent. He released minimal public statements and seemed content to let the evidence and his father's well-timed commentary speak for itself. Some critics attempted to frame Baldoni's silence as guilt, but it soon became clear that it was part of a broader strategy. If you're telling the truth and have proof on your side, there's no need to grandstand. Instead, Baldoni quietly provided additional context whenever new allegations surfaced, particularly those regarding the alleged breastfeeding invasion, or claims that he had criticized Lively's postpartum body. Each time, his responses included text messages or corroborating testimonies from third parties. With every new revelation, Lively's credibility took another hit. What she had initially framed as misconduct and unprofessional behavior in